Hi guys, so we're doing reading time with Miss Acton. So let's get through this fast. So first thing I'm going to show you is visuals that you're going to be seeing in some of your text. Remember, visuals are things you can see with your vision, see with your eyes. So one thing could be a photograph, a map which shows you places you can go visit, illustration which is like a photograph but it's a drawing, a really good drawing, diagrams, usually a drawing that has labels on it, a timeline. So it goes through, starts at the beginning of a time, and usually this is famous people have a lot of timelines in books about them, but it goes from the beginning where a time starts and goes through time, like the time that it takes for a frog to turn from a egg to a tadpole to a froglet to a frog. So what are you going to be doing today? At the end of this, you're going to say, I will identify what I learned from the visuals or the words in a nonfiction text. So these past few days, Miss Acton's tried to point out to you that the visuals teach you something, the words teach you something. Sometimes they teach you the same thing. Sometimes they teach you things that are different. Sometimes one teaches you something and the other one doesn't. And you have to be able to see that you can learn something new from both of them or even the same thing from both of them. So what I want to show you guys right now is, and actually, where are my little pencil thingies at? Oh, didn't mean to do that. Where are my little tools at? There they are. So I want you. Sorry, guys. Move you up to make you a little bit bigger. We're gonna go back to this one. So the one thing that I want us to do really, really quick is to go over what a visual is and what the text is. So a visual is always the picture, the photograph, the image, the thing that's bringing a lot of attention. It's usually always a drawing or a photo. Sometimes the drawing will have labels, which makes it a diagram, but it's always something that's nice on the eye, something that your eye always goes to, but it's always teaching you something. So in this text about okapis, this is the visual, okay? I'm seeing if I can go to the next one without switching. And this one about frogs, this is the visual. It's what you see. And this one, these two images right here are the visual. So this is a visual and this is a visual. So they're what is bringing your eyes to look at the text that you're reading. So in this one, the little boy's the visual and his dog's that photograph. This one, the visual could be this little globe right here, but also this big map with this girl pointing at it with a pointer. The visual here is the picture of the eel, the photograph of the eel and just the top of its head. The visual in this is the picture of the park down here with the swimming pool and the soccer field. Looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a bouncy house, a slide, places where you can sit and eat. So this is the visual. This is the visual of this one. So it shows a little human and how there's some sharks, their body size compared to a human. Look how big that gray one is. So I like that visual because it looks pretty cool. This is an actual book. So the visual is this animal right here. So the photograph of the okapi. We're going to go back up to the top to those texts. So when we look at this, the visual is what's bringing our eyes to it. It's a picture, a photograph, something nice for our eyes to look at. The words are all the text that are right here. So the okapi is a weird looking animal. It looks like the leftover parts of many different animals. Those words right there are the words that we're looking for. So in an informational text, you will see a visual and words. And they are going to teach you something. Each of them are. Sometimes they're going to teach you the same thing. Sometimes they're going to teach you something different. So I circled the visual. The words over here are the words. Another word that Miss Acton or Miss Ramos or Miss Jess might use is the text. But the standard says that we're supposed to use words. So the words that are over here. So these are visuals, the walking stick and the katydid, and these are the words. Our little boy and his walker and his guide dog is the visual. The words are the text that you see in there. The map and the globe are our visuals. Right down here is the words. Picture of our eel is the visual. These are the words. I love that one. That text. Eels are really cool animals. Do some research on eels if you get bored today. So these are the words, and there's the visual. Both of these are talking about this park. So the visual is showing you the park. This text appears talking about the words are talking about the park. So this is the visual with the sharks. This right here are the words about the sharks. Words, visual. Words, visual. Do you see how this isn't hard? All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is a little sort to help you see how we're pulling information from the words and the visual and then determining how we found that information out. So we got to move to our Jamboard. And so the first one is our frogs article. So you probably saw it in there. So the visual is our picture of our frog right here, and the words are the text, the words over here that are talking about frogs. So let's read this real quick. Frogs are unique animals. One reason they are so unique is that they live two lives. Some of their life is lived underwater, like a fish. This is when they are tadpoles, or baby frogs. Then they start to grow front and back legs. They grow lungs to breathe air. Now they can live on land where they live their second life. An adult frog's body is quite different looking from when it is a tadpole just being born. So you all know like a tadpole is that little bitty, it's like a ball with a little tail at the end, kind of looks like a fish a little bit. Looks completely different than a grown adult frog does. So learned a lot of stuff in that text and those words right there. Let's see if we learn something new or learn the same things in the visual. So the visual is a picture of this frog and this beautiful pink flower. I think that's a daisy. And it has labels. And those labels are probably going to give us some more information about our frog. So the first one says wet, slimy, and smooth skin. So I'm thinking, and you should be too, these words said nothing about the frog's skin. So I already learned something from this visual that I didn't learn from the words. All right, let's move to the next one. Tiny teeth on the top jaw. So their jaw, you have two parts of your jaw is the bottom, which would be the bottom part of your jaw, and then the top would be the top, and that goes with any animal. So their top part of their mouth is their top jaw. They have tiny little teeth up there. It said nothing about teeth in the words. So far we've learned two new things just from the visual. Suction cup hands. You can see the little suction cups in their cute little hands. So again, we're learning something new. Didn't talk about anything about their hands and how they're suction cups, and that's what helps them climb up walls and trees and stuff like that. Um, but the visual is teaching us that. The words did not. And the last one, long and powerful back legs. So the visual teaches us that the legs are big, long, and powerful. The article or the word said something about their legs. Let me see if I can find it. It says then they start to grow front and back legs. So it talks a little bit about the legs, but it doesn't talk about what the legs look like. It doesn't talk about what the legs can do. So again, another thing that this visual is teaching us. So down here I have cards, and these cards are going to go into this T chart over here. So they're either going to go into the visuals or the words. So one of these things is either being taught by the visual or it's being taught by the word. So let's go with this first one, long back legs. So what I want you to think, did the words teach me that they have long back legs, or did the visual teach me that they have long back legs? I'm sorry if you hear that click clacking, it's my crazy dog. Long back legs. Did the words teach us that, or did the visuals teach us that? Right, the visuals teach us that right down there. Let me find a brighter color. Let's do yellows on there. We'll do red. Right there. It says long and powerful back legs. Go ahead and look through this text. Pause the video and read through this text. You won't find anything that says anything about their legs being long. So this definitely goes with the visual. All right, the next one, wet skin. So where in these words does it talk about wet skin? Right, it does not. Where in the visual does it talk about wet skin? Right here. So this is the visual, so that means this card, wet skin, is being taught to us by the visual. So far we got 2 in the visual column. Come on, words. All right, so suction cup hands. Suction cup hands. So do we get that information from the words, or do we get that information from the visual? Words or visual? Right, I'm hoping some of you guys are like pointing at your screen and saying, right there, Miss Acton, it's right there. Suction cup hands right here on our visual. So another one for visuals. Come on, words, we can do this. They grow lungs. That's the next one, grow lungs. So I definitely think it's easier to look at our visual first. So it talks about their skin, their teeth, their suction cup hands, and their long legs. It says nothing about their lungs. So now we need to see if it's in the words in our text. So we look through there, let's see if we can just skim, just glance over and see if we can find the word lungs. L-U-N-G. Oh, right there, lungs. They grow lungs to breathe air. And our card says grow lungs. So where do we see that? In the visual or in the words? Right, in the words. So now we have something that the words taught us. We've had 3 things that the visual taught us. Now we have something that the words taught us. Next one, tadpoles are baby frogs. Now, I'm going to go immediately and say there is no mention at all about tadpoles. This is a grown frog that they're talking about in this visual. So I'm going to go out and say it's probably going to be in here, but let's check to make sure. So let's look for the word tadpoles. We're not going to read this whole article again. We're going to look for tadpoles. Oh, tadpoles right there. So let's read the sentence that's in there. This is when they are tadpoles or baby frogs. This is when they are tadpoles or baby frogs. So when it says or, it's saying tadpoles and baby frogs are the same thing. So did the words teach us that tadpoles are baby frogs? It absolutely did. So that one will go up here. All right, next one is tiny teeth. Tiny teeth. Where does that one go? Right, you see it right there, tiny teeth on the top jaw. That's our visual. So our visual taught us that. There's says nothing about teeth over here in the words. Frogs are unique. There's our next one. Frogs are unique. So the visual is probably the easiest one to look at first. I don't see anything where it says unique, that word unique. But as soon as I go to this one, frogs are unique animals. It's the first thing that it says. So those are my words. Then the last one, frogs eat worms. Now, if you were paying attention to Miss Acton reading the words and then going over the visual with you, you should know that there was nothing mentioned about worms in any of this. You can go back through this entire thing. I don't even think anywhere it talks about them eating anything. Like, it doesn't talk about their diet, how they eat, how they catch their prey. The only thing that's close to it is the tiny teeth. I'm sure the teeth help them catch their prey and swallow them and gobble it up. But it doesn't talk about what they eat, and it certainly doesn't talk about how frogs eat worms. So this will not work for visuals or for words. This is information that's nowhere in this text. That doesn't mean it's not true. It's just not found in these visuals. So that one's just going to stay over there because it doesn't belong anywhere. Or you could put it down here in the middle if you wanted to. All right, so let's do another one. This one, Miss Acton's not going to talk as much. I'm going to let you all kind of do it as I move the pieces. All right, so this one is an Okapi text. This is the same text that you guys have been doing the past 2 days in Miss Acton's videos. The Okapi is a weird looking animal. It looks like the leftover parts of many different animals we know. It has stripes of a zebra. Its neck is like a giraffe's, but not quite as long. Most of its body looks like a horse. It has horns like a giraffe, horns on top of its head. It has a long blue sticky tongue in its mouth. Okapi are fun to look at, but they have more than just their looks. They are herbivores. They only eat plants. Some plants they eat are poisonous to humans. That's pretty cool. Okapis are good moms too. So we learned a lot of stuff from the words. So now let's take a look at that visual. So it's a illustration or a really, really good drawing of an okapi, and it shows giraffe tail. It's got a tail like a giraffe with a little tuft of hair at the end. Stripes on legs. So it's got stripes on the legs. It's got a short mane, which is the hair that goes down its back like a horse's, but theirs isn't really long like a horse's. It's real short. And then big ears. We know those big ears are for hearing. So let's go look at these cards. So good moms. Is that something that the visual taught us or the words taught us? Good. We read that in the words. Good. The legs have stripes. Good. That was in the visuals. Now, in the words, it says it has stripes of a zebra. I'll underline that for you right now. It says oh, you gonna let me mark? It's not. It says it has stripes of a zebra, but it doesn't say that the legs have stripes. So more specifically, this says there's stripes on legs. So you could technically put it in both if you wanted to, but I feel like it's more specific in the visual where the stripes are. The text just says it's got stripes like a zebra. And that's why when we drew our picture of our Okapi a few days ago, there were stripes all over our Okapi and it looked like a zebra. And we know that that's not true with an Okapi. They only have it on their bottom parts of their legs. So I think that visual shows it way better than the words. But if you disagree, then you can put your card in the middle and say that it goes with both of them. All right, next, short mane. So are we seeing that in the words or in the visual? Right, it's right there. Look, right there, short mane, definitely in the visual. All right, next, eat plants. Eat plants. Right, it's in the words. There's nothing about what they eat right here. It doesn't even talk about their mouth in the visual. And when you look in here, I think it's down towards the bottom, they only eat plants. Some plants they eat are poisonous to humans. So definitely in the words. Blue tongue. Right. So we know that blue tongue is in that Okapi's mouth, but it doesn't show it. It doesn't say anything about it. But when you go up here to the text, it says, let me find it. It has a long blue sticky tongue in its mouth. So it's definitely mentioned in the words. We learned that from the words. Giraffe tail. Good, the visuals. Yeah, so the visual says it, giraffe tail right there. It mentions that it's got a lot of giraffe features. It's got a neck like a giraffe's. It's got horns like a giraffe. So this animal is very similar to a giraffe, but in the, disappeared. There it is. Move you forward, buddy. Order. I'm going to bring you to the front. We want to be able to see you. There we go. So the giraffe tail is mentioned perfectly right there in the visual. So the visual definitely teaches us. And then nice animals. So these animals are nice. Is that a part of the visual? Did that teach you in the visual or did it teach you that in the words? What do you think? Yeah, this doesn't belong. Nowhere in this entire words, this text, does it say that okapis are nice animals. And nowhere in this visual does it say that okapis are nice animals. You might know that okapis are nice animals because most animals that only eat plants are pretty nice. And you may have seen a picture that Miss Acton may have showed you on Monday's video that had an okapi that was eating off of a branch of a tree with a man standing there right next to him with their baby. So they are nice animals, and when they're kept at zoos, they are really nice to their keepers. But it doesn't say anything about that in this text. So if someone was to ask you, so was the visual or the words teaching you that these animals are nice, you would say, neither. It doesn't fit in one of those. I learned that they're nice animals on a YouTube video that I watched the other day, or whatever it is that you learned that, but you didn't learn it from this text though. So on your work that you have to do today with Miss Acton, you're going to see a bunch of articles, a bunch of text, and you're going to have to tell me, is it a visual or the words that are teaching me that? So the first one that we have is this electric eel, and then you have this words that you're supposed to read, and then the visual that you're supposed to. And I love electric eels. Please make sure you read that one. And then it says eels have small eyes. So you need to decide, is that in the visual, which is the picture of the eel, or do I find that information in the words? Next is eels eat fish. Did you read about that in the words, or did you see that in the visual? Does that visual show you anything about them being able to eat fish? No, it's just a simple picture, nice close up of an eel's top part of its body, its head. Nowhere does it say anything about it. So the visual is definitely no in this one. So if it's in the words, I would check the word box. One of these might not be in either one of them. You wouldn't check either one of those boxes, and some of them might be in both of them. Eels live in water. That picture, that visual, shows an eel living in water. When you look through this, electric eels are nocturnal and cannot see very well. They live in muddy and dark water. So the words and the visual teach you that eels live in water. So you would check both of those boxes. So have fun. There's a few other texts that do that too, where you have to pay attention to the visuals and make sure that you push submit down at the bottom to turn into your teacher. Thank you guys for watching this video. Have fun with this activity. It should be pretty fun and learn something new about those electric eels.